Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Joe Peterson. I'm the Vice President of Cloud and Security for Clarify 360 and the Chief Analyst at ClearTech Research. And I'm here today with ClearTech Loop. We're on the move and we're in the know. And I'm here with Aby Rao. And Aby is Deputy Chief Information Security Officer at a fintech company. Hi, Aby.
Hello, Joe. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining today. Folks, if you're just tuning into the podcast, we're a hot take approach, and we're focused on cybersecurity, cloud security, and AI security. And in each weekly episode, we ask our guests 3 focus questions to quickly educate our listeners about the security landscape, both risks and opportunities. Our soundbite approach is meant to act as an of-the-moment look at business and technical conversations that are happening right now. So Aby, in case you're not familiar with him, has held senior security roles with companies like MetLife and KPMG and several other well-known firms, and has volunteered his time with organizations like Harvard Business Review Advisory Council on their Cybersecurity Advisory Board. So we're so lucky to have him with us today. Aby, take a moment and tell us what you're doing in your day-to-day role today.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, first off, thank you for having me on your show. It's always good to talk to others about, areas that I'm passionate about, and I'm really excited to talk to. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a Deputy Chief Information Security Officer at a fintech company. I've been in this space for almost 2 decades now. I've done everything from UI design to web development to cybersecurity for the past 16 years. Currently, my role is that of an operational CISO, working very closely with more than 8 different teams. And they range from identity access management to operational security. And that's something that I really enjoy doing. I like to get my hands dirty and drive these programs on a daily basis.
That's awesome. And I know you're a busy guy, so let me dig right into the questions. We've got 3 of them for you. The first is, how can cybersecurity professionals leverage generative AI to break out of traditional tools and tech mindsets and drive more innovative thinking and execution in their security programs?
Yeah, so I feel like the past few years, Joe, we have made huge strides in the AI ML space. I mean, there's no doubt, and there is so much going on pretty much on a daily basis. And I strongly feel as a cybersecurity professional, we are at an inflection point where we have been bestowed with a lot of capabilities that didn't exist before, in the sense that we have the tools, technologies, very large data set that we have access to. And if a cybersecurity professional wants to be a developer, they can be one without knowing coding. There is so many options when it comes to no code and low code that, if a certain team or individual on the cybersecurity team wants to build their own IAM system using agentic AI, using no code, you can design a system that you can use tomorrow, right? There is very little licensing implication when it comes to building your own systems, designing your own infrastructure. And I think that's a huge, huge step forward, where we are not relying on vendors anymore. We can ensure that using our own data, we can define our own requirements and build these systems that could be used for operational purposes. So that in itself is the right step in the right direction, because it democratizes the whole development process. It enables you to build what you want to build and what you want to see, and not rely on vendors that come with very hefty price tag. So innovation is at the forefront. It's just that you have to be very clear about what your priorities are, what the end goal is, and most importantly, how are you going to manage this operationally? Because building a system is great, but you have to manage that over a period of several years. And with changing resources, attrition, that can be a bit of a challenge. So there are challenges, but this is a very exciting time in our professional career.
It is an exciting time, and you make such a good point. about priorities, right? Because maybe in the first year that AI rolled out, I saw this sort of shiny new toy syndrome happening, right? There were so many projects that were on the table because of all the possibilities, and people were excited, and I get that. But not all those priorities matched or aligned with business initiatives, and that's what's really key, you know? And then you make a really good point about, well, just because you're going to build something homegrown, you've got to be able to support it. You
Yeah.
just do. So next question, how can organizations embed security and privacy controls into AI model development without sort of slowing down innovation?
Yeah, before I answer that question, one of the observations I want to share with you, Joe, is that the pace at which AI development is taking place, it has outgrown AI literacy and AI education.
Yeah,
So there's so much technology that's put out there. As a cybersecurity professional and our community, it's a challenge to keep up with these changes and progress and disruption that's been caused by AI ML. So how do we address this challenge, right? Before we even put in security and privacy controls, the most important part for you as a leader that you have to pay attention to is, do you have the right talent with the right skill set within this space? Because if the answer is no, you might want to go back to the drawing board and understand what your team strengths are. If the answer is yes, we have the skills, we have the talent, we have upskilled ourselves, then it goes down to security by design and privacy by design. So working closely with your product development team, being part of the life cycle as early as possible, gives you that opportunity to do X by design, whether X is security or X is privacy. And within the AI ecosystem, it's no longer just security and privacy. It's fairness, it's transparency, it's explainability, and they all work hand in hand. These are not discrete set of requirements. They're
yeah.
part of responsible AI. So realizing the fact that it's a larger governance ecosystem, not just limited to security and privacy, is another mindset shift that has to happen as a professional who is in that governance and monitoring. So yeah, I mean, it's a matter of bringing together the right people at the right time within the development lifecycle, and collaborating with some of your peers within the responsible AI umbrella becomes really key to your success when it comes to embedding security and privacy controls.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, unless you're a really big company and maybe you have a risk officer, or maybe there's a regulatory reason that you have a risk officer, you as the CISO become the risk officer, right? So
Absolutely.
even more important to have you at the table in those senior conversations, because what you're really talking about is imperative to the business. It's not just security that's pushed off in the corner, right?
And
Especially with the advent of AI.
yeah,
So
one other mindset shift that we need to realize as cybersecurity professionals doing this for an extended period of time is that we have to break out of this castle guard mindset
yeah,
and think of us as air traffic controllers, because there is no perimeter anymore. There is no boundary anymore that, okay, I have three doors to get in and everything else is well guarded. It's literally you're managing the sky where you have APIs, you have agents, and you have all different threat vectors coming at you. So I think of it as an air traffic controller managing different things, managing safety, which is another big imperative within AI ML. And that's the mindset shift that I'm really encouraging a lot of my leaders to do. Is it's no longer a boundary that's clearly defined. It's more about being aware of different vectors and operating in different domains.
it's a really good way to look at it. And I smiled because it was a cute analogy, right? Air traffic controller. Um, how should the CISO be thinking about AI adoption in terms of its use to secure emerging threats and from an organizational governance perspective? So two sides of the coin.
Yeah, as a CISO, your job is to be that liaison or bridge between two main elements within the organization. One is the development arm of your organization, whether it's product teams or programmers or developers. And then the other camp is the governance team. So working closely with your legal team, privacy, fairness, ethics, safety teams. And it becomes really important that you're able to draw that bridge and convey that risk that you're seeing on the development side to the right domains within the governance team. So it becomes even more important as a CISO to understand the threat landscape and communicate that to the various second line of defense or the third line of defense that we often talk about, right? The second and the third is more on the governance and auditing aspect of the organization, respectively. So it's that key role, that pivotal role that CISOs play today. And with their strong understanding of the threat landscape and technology, and similar, strong understanding on the governance side, makes them a very important, role, that central role that they will play in future. And as you said, I think you made a really important point about the way we are emerging in this space. You often wear multiple hats. Mm-hmm. It's not just security is my domain. It's mm-hmm. not just CISO. It could be CIXO, where X could be many different things. And just going through that realization is a big aspect of your responsibility.
It's a shift. And, I like the way you explain it, that you're a bridge for the organization, and I always encourage boards to, if you're not actively involving your CISO, you really need to. You're shortchanging yourself. So that's my message for today. Engage your CISO often, always. Enough, right? So, well, thank you so much for sharing your thought leadership with us. Thank you for being part of the conversation. And everyone, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Joe. Have a nice day.